Hey everybody, welcome to Dad, Daughters, and Drinks, where you'll always get at least two of those three. Today I'm going to be reacting to a new style of music for me called Gamelan. Fairly sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, let me know in the comments. This is a traditional Indonesian musical style that's played, I think, as an ensemble on lots of mostly percussion instruments. Uh, this was recommended to me, this video specifically, in comments for a couple of my videos. And I researched it a little bit. One person gave me some links and things to learn a little bit more about the music, and I couldn't fully watch the videos, but I kind of clicked through just to get little bits and pieces. It seems like there's different styles of this music depending on where you're from. So I saw that there was Sunda, Bali, Java, and there may be others, but I think those were the big ones. And I think somebody said Bali is kind of the most common one for us to listen to in the West. Why that is, I don't know. There was some mention that the tones and the scales are different than what we see in standard, musical instruments. When I say musical instruments, I'm referring to, kind of orchestral guitar, piano type things. Um, there was one video where somebody had what was called a microtonal guitar that you could play uh, gamelan music on, and the frets were like specific to each strings, and they were very offset from each other. It was a very strange looking guitar, but it did really kind of inform me that the scale is going to be different, which could lead to some interesting kind of, dissonance and things that you might not normally expect in music for me. Uh, so yeah, I'm really interested to see what this is like. Um, Looks like there's a whole bunch of different people. Whether or not this is going to be all percussion, I'm not sure. One of the videos when I was scrolling through, I wasn't listening, but I was just kind of scrolling to see what was going on. There was somebody who was playing a flute instrument occasionally. So I know that it's not necessarily all just percussion. So let's take a look and see what we get. I think this is going to be really fascinating. Cool. What's the name? They're playing on some sort of a bell instrument, but it doesn't look like any one that I would normally know, like a rimba or a xylophone or something. But it seems like they've got these kind of fat ringing tone. Assume they're metal. I can't really tell what it is, but let me know what that instrument's called. And already there is kind of a dissonant sound, these notes that don't line up exactly like I would normally expect them to, which is really interesting. Oh, so they all have the music memorized, which is really cool because this is an almost 9 minute video. Um, I was always impressed by percussion players that could really memorize crazy stuff for long, pieces of music. But these people are super in sync. Like this guy right here, I don't know if he's like the leader of the group or something, but he just looks like he's playing with some authority. Uh, I wonder if there is like a conductor type person or a lead person that everybody else is supposed to follow. It's fascinating to watch his left hand, the thumb movement, how, there's clearly been a lot of like short notes, but then there's some that they let ring. But when they're playing these really fast sequences, I tend to think of it, as a marimba player that might have two or four things, sticks. And, but he's just playing with one. So he's got to go real fast, but his thumb is hitting you know, every bell. I'm not sure what you call those individual things. I'll just call them bells. I'm not sure what they are, but he's hitting the bells really fast and his thumb's having to stop them perfectly. Uh, Kind of an interesting technique. Uh, and his arms are having to cross over a lot. So cool. Very, very cool. it's also interesting to see how not uh like locked down those bells are. You can see that they're almost just tied, very loosely on this string that's going across the top. And when they're hitting them, they're really moving around quite a bit. Yeah, it does seem like he's kind of the conductor guy. Uh, just it almost seems like he's cueing everybody in with head motions, right? He doesn't really have a baton he can work with because he's playing, so he's kind of doing this head thing to get everybody in sync. And they're also using different things to hit with. So everybody up front almost has these little pickaxe looking things where they're getting, maybe a little bit crisper of a sound. And then these guys in the back, there's two of them, seem like they're playing with a bigger, fat mallet. It gives a softer sound for the background. And I am very interested to know anything about like where they are or the what they're wearing. Um, if this is like a traditional thing or if it's just specific to this group of people. It's interesting. There's like a lot of variation in what they're playing, but at the same time, it's still all kinds of flows from one bit to another. Uh, kind of like how to word it exactly. Um, like lots of tiny movements or something that just go together well. I'm not sure exactly how else to say that, but that's kind of cool. Oh wait, what was that? Bass note. Oh, we didn't see where that came from. Yeah, there are a couple guys that are holding flute instruments on the sides, the front. I say flutes, but it means some sort of a wind instrument. So did they ever? I have to look a little bit closer, and I don't want to go back, but the hammers that the guys in the front are holding, that I said are kind of pickaxe shaped. They're like kind of fatter and flat at one end, and they go back to a sharp point at the other. And there seems to be a certain kind of movement they're doing. I'm not sure if that's a timing thing between hits, or maybe sometimes they hit it with different ends depending on getting different sounds. Since I thought about it, I've only seen them use the more fat end, but keep an eye out for that. I think what I was noticing before about these different little segments is I feel like the guys in the back that are kind of playing those longer individual notes, almost what I'm thinking of as the background music, are playing like different, are playing the same thing over and over again. And that's what kind of gives it a certain commonality. And then the front guys that are doing the more lead parts are doing different things, but it all works with that background music. It's kind of cool. Badass. This is this guy right here. I hope you can see my mouse. He's just on the screen to the left of that main guy. And it looks like there are some guys in the back that are playing with two mallets, and he got done doing something fancy, and then he was sitting there spinning them. Cool. Oh, they all were. All those guys in that row. There's so many things I'm fascinated by on this one. I want to stop it too much, jeez. Uh, but if you've ever watched my videos before, you know I'm kind of a pauser because I like thinking about these things. Because if I try to wait till the end, I'll never remember. Uh, the guy in the middle here, the kind of leader guy, the conductor, as I've been calling him, he has a different mallet than everybody else on that row. I don't know what that instrument's called. I'm just going to call it a mallet, the hammer. Is that some sort of a status symbol, or is it actually cause different sounds? Everybody else kind of has almost what looks like an ivory tusk kind of thing that they're playing with. I don't know if it's actually a tusk or not, but it's just kind of what it looks like. Whereas his is black and kind of has some cool like kind of gold carvings in it or something. There's a very wide age range of the guys in the ensemble as well. I'm really interested. So you got these guys in the front, these three that are doing this kind of percussion thing, but there's this guy off to the left in the front that's got these kind of red things that he's hitting this instrument with sometimes. Other times it looks like he may be playing directly on it. And it almost seems like that's a symbol that can kind of invert and go in and out, like when you're, I think that's something that's flat, like, describe this exactly. Push in and it pops out, and out, in and out. Makes like a popping sound. So it doesn't seem like it's popping in and out. I think it's just something that's tapping together. Probably a lot simpler to not play, but have faith that it'll work. It's popping stuck or all that. Oh, wait, that one guy in the front right here finally got to play. So it's like just a little gong sound of that guy. You know, in addition to there being a lot of different instruments and different instruments to play on those instruments, uh, and the techniques, you know, of using your thumb to stop that instrument while you're playing. There's just a very interesting dynamic range as well, for all these different, and the synchronization that these guys have with each other is just remarkable. I'm assuming that these guys are very, very good, and that it's not just like a regular run of the mill gamelan group or something. That these guys are actually very, very good. Um, I don't know, but I can't think that this is super easy to be this in sync. And you just never see anybody looking at their instruments to make sure they're in the right spot. As I pause and say that, the guy in the front's kind of looking down. But the whole time I've been watching, I haven't seen anybody look down, other than like this guy on the left who looks like he's getting ready to fall asleep. Some interesting kind of synchronization there. Asynchronization. This almost feels like one of those parts of a song where they played a lot of different parts, and now they're almost all playing them together on top of each other to show that they also work as a cohesive whole. So yeah, I haven't seen anybody play with the sharp edge of the hammer thing, but I think this main conductor guy, he does tend to, when he's kind of messing around between hits, flip it upside down, and I think that gave me the impression that he may use the other end. But I've been paying attention and I haven't seen him do it. Wait, little hand. Showing off a little bit. Building up. I've been calling this this guy here the conductor, but really the guys in the front have never looked back. So this does all have to be pretty, well timed. Aside from him nodding his head and things. It's a much bigger wind instrument than that he was playing before. Oh, it's a different guy. I think the one in the back there is playing that longer one, and then the guy in the front is still playing the shorter. What I mentally am thinking of is like the piccolo instrument. These other two guys kind of have clarinets. I know none of that's what they are, but that's just kind of how I'm translating it in my head. Did he have something attached to his hand that he was going up and down on? I can't tell if he's just hitting it or if there's something he's moving up and down. It's kind of in the shadows, the same color as the instrument. it going? That was cool. Just checking out some of these coming videos. Very cool. Very, very cool stuff. Shot of everybody. I liked it. I like that a lot. It's been a long time since I kind of listened to something with, a lot of percussion and bells and things. It didn't sound, when I mentioned Wakti from South America, I think Brazil, earlier, this doesn't sound like it. Like you wouldn't listen to Wakti and think, oh, that sounds similar. But the overall kind of instrumentation is pretty close. I would say this style, the gamelan, the tonality is a little bit different, and the structures are very different. And there's a lot more kind of bell foundation, whereas the what I'm thinking, I realize that bells uh, are percussion instrument, but when I'm thinking of percussion, I mean like the drums that you're beating on, as opposed to bells that are ringing. Uh, the Wakti was much more drum oriented, and you would have things like the woodwinds and the maybe some strings and some bells and things that were more accenting, as opposed to this one, which I think the bells were more functional and the drums were a little bit accenting. I'm totally going to get schooled by you guys on use or misuse of all of these different terms, bells and drums and everything else I've said, and paddles and mallets and sticks and things. My terminology has been absolutely awful. I was never a percussion player. I have three daughters, and all of them were percussion players. Uh, but none of it stuck in my old melon. So, again, apologies for anything I've said that was incorrect about this. Um, I'm sure if I have, everybody let me know. Let me know what you think in general about me reacting to other gamelan, you know, instrumentation or tools. Because I would love to watch more of this, but I don't want to go and do that. Um, they're gonna want to, but this was definitely cool. Nothing that I had seen quite like this before, with this many people uh, doing this kind of an intricate percussion. As far as I could tell, perfect synchronization. But overall, I really enjoyed this. A lot of cool stuff, and I would be very interested if this is. If I was right at the beginning, if this is like Bali gamelan, what are the differences for, like, if I were to listen to a Java gamelan, Sundanese gamelan, or something? Um, yeah, I'm interested to know what I should be looking for. Maybe by the time I do the next reaction, I'll have watched some of those, kind of instructional, educational videos on. Um, but in the meantime, I think I hold on long enough. Appreciate everybody watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all again